The success of Gerald Levert's solo debut, Private Line, put Gerald squarely on center stage, and he vowed to make the most of it.
Gerald was really a very happy person. And as a singer, he really showed that on stage. He loved live performance, and he gave it his all.
It took off. It became bigger than the group.
But as Gerald got bigger and bigger, so did the responsibilities and pressure that came with success.
When you go solo, it is now all on you. Everything you do on stage is you. Everything you do in terms of decisions that you make for your business, it's on you now.
Gerald was well aware of the ups and downs in show business. Indeed, just as his own career had taken off, he'd seen his father's winding down.
The OJs, by the time that Gerald Levert and Levert begun to happen, they were kind of just becoming the elder statesmen of soul music. The hits had pretty much stopped.
But Gerald gave his dad's career a welcome boost when they recorded a duet together titled, Baby Hold On To Me.
Girl, you know, there ain't nothing I won't do for you. And baby, don't ever doubt my love goes through.
When he played it for me, I told him, I said, yeah, man, that's a hit record, man. I said, but you know what would really make that really a hit record? If you put me on there with it. He didn't want to do it. He said, oh, man, get out of here. But we decided to try it.
My dad is more so like a superhero. That's all I ever wanted to be, man. And when you're able to stand up there and sing with him in front of people and have people get emotional about it, I'm just proud to be his son. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud to say that that's my dad.
On the R&B charts, Baby Hold On To Me rose to #1.
It turned out to be great for me because he introduced me to a whole new audience.
Both of their careers helped each other. His father's relationships pushed Gerald into a record deal. And once Gerald and they became more popular, it helped their father get back in a mainstream.
I'm more relaxed than I've ever been in my career. It's not an urgency that I have to come up with the stuff now. Do you understand it? Nah, banana.
Gerald revised the OJs to give them a youthful quality back into the spotlight, because as Eddie always says, you're going to grow up, you're going to come down. So Eddie was teaching us, like, let's keep the money at home, let's keep everybody together.
And I promise, baby, I'll be there for you. Oh.
We were raised, family comes first. So even friends became family.
When Levert went out, or even when he went out as a solo artist, they went out deep. There were at least 21 people that were on his payroll. A lot of them were family members and friends.
And that group was ever expanding.
He took care of the household, then he started taking care of, more people, and hangers-ons as well.
I don't have a car. He'd give people a car. I can't pay my rent. He would pay people's rent that we didn't even know he was doing.
He had children now. Every mother has a right to have her child taken care of. And they were putting these sort of demands on him.
My dad had a lot of stress on him. He had the world on his shoulders. He really took care of everybody.
He had that pressure, like, I've got to succeed. I've got to do this to take care of my family.
I saw the pills in the bag, and I was just like, what is this?
By the late 1990s, the demand for Gerald Levert's classic style of R&B was slowing down.
Radio at the time was beginning to go through the transition of more hip-hop.
Now everything's flipped around. You know, mainstream is hip hop, and now R&B is like, you know, just there.
So even if you were Gerald Levert, who was relatively young, he was becoming the old guy in the room.
Now, you know, people want to hear me sing them love songs, and that's what I do. You know, I sing those type of songs that you know, people have babies by. You know, they do their thing. You know, child support.
So in 1997, Gerald took another turn, teaming with Keith Sweat and Johnny Gill to form the supergroup LSG. They promptly scored a #1 R&B chart single with My Body.
We had great success with the LSG. First album, I think, was like somewhere like double platinum. Second album went somewhere close to like platinum. It was sort of like the Black, the Three Tenors. That's kind of like what it was, and people loved it.
But the three singers' schedules could not be easily coordinated, and the group's first hit song became their last. By the end of the 90s decade, Gerald Levert had put his stamp on more than 20 top 10 singles, commanded a loyal fan base, had sold millions of records, and was feeling like a has-been.
He was trying to find that monster hit on his own. He was making good records, but they weren't really being heard.
And the influx of hip-hop took a lot out of R&B music. The different formats started to develop, so you had the urban and you had the urban AC. So he got kind of positioned in the urban AC world and was very hard to get out of that box.
Gerald was dissatisfied because he saw other people rising higher to greater prominence. He never really had big pop success.
Like you know, the people that's making all that whole lot of money.
I know I'm better than these guys. I write all these songs, and mine have more depth and meaning than all these people, and I'm overlooked when the Grammys come around.
You know, you're too fat. Your voice is too big for pop radio. And they would tell him.
I can still do a little dance, and I can shake my tail feather a little bit.
Forget it. You got way too much soul.
As his record sales diminished, Gerald paid the bills by touring, but the road was no longer paved with gold.
The tours wasn't the same. We used to be out for 6-8 months straight. Then it got down to 6 weeks.
Even as the money streams dried up, Gerald's well-known generosity never stopped flowing.
He needed to pay his own bills, but he's over here taking care of this person, that person. Everybody was in his pockets.
Come on, man, take a vacation. Go do something. He just, you know, drove and drove and drove and trying to get that record. He just kept thinking that he could get another big pop hit.
He wanted to be as big as the Michael Jacksons, as the Ushers, as the Justin Timberlakes who come along after him and pass him and become big, and now they're crossover, and now they're pop.
We never really had another pop record, but you keep trying.
His obsession began to affect his appearance and ultimately his health.
He wouldn't get no rest. He had no hobby. His hobby was writing and producing records. I used to tell him, you need to get away from that. Let's go on a trip. Let's go play some golf.
Now he's playing golf, and we can't get him in the studio anymore, you know, with my Uncle Harry. So, you know, they don't do nothing else but play golf, and we can't get no hits, no extra publishing. So now, it's rough, man.
While attending a fitness and weight loss program in 2005, Gerald fell during a volleyball game and ruptured his Achilles tendon. He was placed in a full-length leg cast for a slow, painful recovery.
He broke his Achilles tendon, and it was really bad because it took care of the entire family, and all his money comes from touring.
Before he should have been back up on the road, he was back up on the road because he knew there were bills to pay. People had to eat.
But the immobility and pain left him in a constant state of discomfort, one he alleviated with medication.
He couldn't go to sleep, so he had to take things to help him go to sleep. You know, he had different problems, you know, just because he was always working.
Prescribed pharmaceuticals are almost impossible. I've not seen people kick them.
You go, hey, man, it's not good for you. You got to slow down.
You have to sleep in order to keep your voice. And you cannot sleep. They give you a pill and you sleep. But between there was Excedrin PM, NyQuil, Benadryl, and then I can't sleep. And the doctors give you something. And this happened to him.
Let me tell you something, kid. In order to get old, you have to live. Now, if you don't live, you won't be old.